Everyone has their own taste in manga, and each person has their favorite series. But what actually makes a series good? Is it the connection you feel with the characters, caring about their achievements or struggles? Or is it the artwork with its beautiful details that draw you in? In this video, I will discuss Dr. Stone by breaking it down into 4 key elements that I believe define a good series: the plot, the characters, the world building, and the art. Remember, this is just my opinion, so let's agree to disagree, and I will try my best to be as spoiler-free. If you want your favorite series to be discussed as well, subscribe and comment it below. Dr. Stone is a manga series written by Riichiro Inagaki and illustrated by Boichi. In a world where humanity has been mysteriously turned into stone, thousands of years later, a brilliant young scientist, Senku, awakens and sets out to rebuild civilization from scratch using the power of science. With his sharp intellect and growing group of allies, he faces challenges from nature, rival factions, and the mysteries behind the petrification event. The series blends survival, discovery, and thrilling scientific breakthroughs in a unique and engaging way. World building is the process of creating the setting of a story. It's like designing an entire world from scratch, deciding what it looks like, how people live in it, and what rules it follows. This can be completely fictional world, like a magical kingdom, or a version of the real world with some changes, like a futuristic society. Good world building makes the world feel real and immersive, so that when you read or watch a story, you feel you could actually step into it. But what makes world building good? Good world building has a few important qualities. First, the world must be consistent. Even if the story includes things that don't exist in real life, like magic or futuristic technology, or a world where all humans have turned into stone, those elements need to follow logical rules that don't constantly change. If a world has magic, for example, the story should explain how it works, and also stick to those rules instead of making things up whenever it's convenient. Second, the world should feel lived in. That means that it has history, culture, and details that make it seem like it existed before the story began. Instead of just being a background for the characters, a well-built world feels like a place full of real people with their own traditions, beliefs, and ways of living. Little details like what people eat, how they build their homes, or what myth they believe in make the world feel more authentic. Good world building is also revealed naturally. Instead of dumping a ton of information at all at once, great stories let you discover the world as the characters explore it. This keeps things interesting and makes you feel like you're learning along with the characters. Humor can also make a complex world easier to digest. Like, for example, the playful twist in Dr. Stone on the Adam and Eve trope, with 2 teenage boys rebuilding a civilization. The world building in Dr. Stone is especially strong because it is based on real science. The story takes place thousands of years after all humans were mysteriously turned into stone. In that time, nature has reclaimed everything. Buildings have collapsed, metal has rusted away, and the modern world is completely gone. When the main characters wake up, they don't just pick up where civilization left off. They have to rebuild everything from scratch, using nothing but their knowledge of science and the resources around them. One of the things that makes Dr. Stone's world feel so real is the attention to detail. The story doesn't just say, "This is a post-apocalyptic world." It actually shows how much Earth has changed over thousands of years and how difficult it is to survive without modern technology. The characters cannot just magically make light bulbs or computers appear. They have to go step by step, starting with simple tools like stone knives, then moving to fire, metalworking, and eventually even more complex inventions. Each scientific breakthrough is explained in a way that is both educational and accessible, so that people who may not have prior scientific knowledge can understand it also. For example, the process of creating calcium carbonate is broken down in a fun, easy to follow way. This inclusivity makes the world more immersive. allowing you to feel like you are learning alongside the characters. Science isn't just a tool for survival, it's also a source of hope. As Senku says, it's not that there are some things science cannot explain. Rather, we search for rules and principles behind the inexplicable and apply good old diligence and effort. That is all what science really is. We can triumph over the fantastic with the power of science. Get excited is one of his other catchphrases, which emphasizes the optimism that science brings, even when the challenges are tough and progress is slow. Another reason the world building is strong is that it evolves over time. At first, it's just a wild, untouched landscape. Then, as the characters advance, they create villages, invent new tools, and even meet other groups of people who survived in different ways. Each new development feels like a natural part of the world. This makes the setting feel alive, like a real place that changes and grows with the story, including real-world locations like the famous Buddha statue in Kamakura in Japan, which adds further authenticity to the world building. Another interesting element that deepens the world building is also the conflict between the two opposing ideologies. Tsukasa wants to revive only pure-hearted people and believes in purifying humanity by leaving the corrupt behind. In contrast, Senku wants to use science to revive everyone without exception. And this philosophical clash drives the plot forward and adds moral complexity to the world. And when it comes to the plot, the world building in Dr. Stone isn't just a cool backdrop. It directly drives the plot. Since Earth has been untouched by humans for thousands of years, nature has completely taken over. That means that the characters cannot rely on modern tools or cities to help them survive. They have to start from scratch, just like the people did in the ancient times. This makes every new invention feel like a major accomplishment and creates a story that constantly moves forward. For example, when they first wake up, they don't even have fire, so their initial struggle is figuring out how to create it. Later, they discover nitric acid, which becomes crucial in freeing more people from stone. These discoveries blend humor and science, while finding rare chemicals is thrilling, and simpler discoveries like finding grapes bring light-hearted moments. This balance keeps the scientific explanations from feeling too dense or too overwhelming. The fast-paced nature of the story is another thing that does stand out. While the timeline progresses quickly, weeks and months passing in just a few chapters or even a few panels, the story could benefit from more explicit timestamps to ground you as a reader. Even so, the pacing reflects the urgency of rebuilding civilization, maintaining a sense of excitement and constant progression. The detailed world of Dr. Stone also affects how the characters think, act, and grow. Senku, the main character, isn't just a typical genius. His intelligence is directly tied to the world he lives in. Because civilization has been wiped out, his deep knowledge of science becomes one of the most valuable skills anyone could have. His personality, curious, logical, and always thinking ahead, makes sense in a world where survival depends on understanding how things work. Other characters are shaped by the world in different ways. Taiju, for example, is strong and hardworking, which makes him essential in the early days of rebuilding, when physical labor is just as important as intelligence. The dynamic between Senku's brain and Taiju's physical strength create both humor and balance in their struggle to rebuild civilization. Meanwhile, Tsukasa's belief in natural selection adds tension and philosophical depth to the story. Each character's worldview reflects their experiences in this new, primitive world. Even the way characters interact changes because of the world building. In a modern world, communication would be easy with phones or internet. In Dr. Stone, they have to invent new ways to send messages over long distance, which affects how conflicts unfold and how alliances are formed. The manga's art is also made stronger by the world building. Since the story takes place in a world that has been reclaimed by nature, the backgrounds are filled with lush forests, towering mountains, and wild landscapes. This creates a unique visual style. that makes the world feel vast and untamed. The contrast between the ruins of old civilization and the raw beauty of nature enhances the immersive experience. The art also reflects the scientific progress in the story. When the characters invent something new, the manga often includes detailed illustrations of how it works, breaking it down step by step. Even character designs evolve in the world. As civilization advances, the characters transition from wearing animal hides to more refined, woven fabric, visually reflecting the passage of time and the progress of society. Overall, Dr. Stone is truly an amazing read, and the world building isn't just there for decoration. It's a core part of what makes the story work. It drives the plot by creating challenges the characters must overcome, shapes the way characters think and grow, and enhances the art by making the world feel alive. Every part of the story feels connected to the world, making it one of the most immersive and engaging manga settings out there. Instead of just telling a story in a unique world, Dr. Stone makes the world itself part of the story. Share your thoughts about Dr. Stone in the comments below and let me know which manga you would like me to cover next. Thank you all so much for watching, and I see you all in my next video. Bye bye!